India Ministry of External Affairs, in a statement issued on Tuesday, says the government of India has moved India students in Tehran out of the Iranian capital city due to safety concerns following the continuous exchange of air bombardments between Israel and Iran, while at the same time, the government of India advised other citizens in Tehran that can afford their own transport fare to leave the Iranian capital city immediately, adding that some citizens of India have been evacuated out of Iran completely through the border with Armenia. The India Embassy in Israel had on Sunday advised persons of India origin not to move unnecessarily in Tel Aviv, and they should obey safety instructions from the Israeli authorities and Home Front Command. According to the India Ministry of External Affairs, Indian students in Tehran have been moved out of the city for reasons of safety, through arrangements made by the embassy. Other residents who are self-sufficient in terms of transport have also been advised to move out of the city in view of the developing situation. Separately, some Indians have been facilitated to leave Iran through the border with Armenia. The embassy remains continuously in touch with the community with a view to extending all feasible assistance. Further advisories may be issued given the fluid situation, the India Ministry of External Affairs stated. Also, India Embassy in Iran issued a strong advisory urging its citizens and persons of Indian origin, PIOs, in Tehran to evacuate the city immediately due to intensifying Israeli strikes. All Indian nationals and PIOs who can move out of Tehran using their own resources are advised to move to a safe location outside the city, the Indian Embassy in Tehran said on Tuesday. The embassy also urged those who haven't registered with the mission to do so without delay. All Indian nationals who are in Tehran and not in touch with the embassy are requested to contact the Embassy of India in Tehran immediately and provide their location and contact numbers, the statement added. 3 emergency helplines were provided for assistance: +98 9010144557. +98 9128109115 and +98 9,128,109,109. The Embassy of India in Israel on Sunday stated that the Embassy of India in Tel Aviv is in touch with members of the Indian community in Israel, including caregivers, workers, students, businessmen and tourist groups. All necessary measures are being taken to ensure their safety and well-being. Embassy continues to monitor the situation closely and is in regular touch with the Israeli authorities. Telephone, +972 54 7520 or +972 54 3278 Email, cons1.telaviv@mayor.gov.in. As you know, national emergency announced by the government of Israel is in place. Airspace is closed. All Indian nationals are once again advised to stay vigilant, strictly avoid any unnecessary move. There are strong indications that the aviation situation in India may need world attention for the safety of global citizens who transit with aircraft within the India Aviation Authority, as multiple reports indicated that some of the aircraft regulated by India authorities are probably more or less like a flying coffin, always waiting to take passengers and crew members early to their makers. As it may be interesting to know that since the plane crashed in Ahmedabad on Thursday last week, there have been series of cancellations and returned flights managed by India Airlines due to technical problems, with an helicopter carrying pilgrims from Kedarnath to Guptkashi crashing on Sunday near Gorakund in the state of Uttarakhand, killing all 7 people on board in India. This, according to residents in India, is the 5th helicopter crash in the country since May 8, 2025, when helicopter crashed near Gangani, killing 6 persons and injuring 1. On May 12, 2025, helicopter blade struck a nearby parked vehicle at Badrinath helipad while attempting to land back on the helipad. On May 17, 2025, an AIIMS Rishikesh Sanjeevani ambulance helicopter crash landed in Kedarnath after the rear part of the helicopter was damaged. On June 7, 2025, An helicopter carrying 5 pilgrims crash-landed near Badasu in Rudraprayag before the Sunday crash, killing all occupants on board after the Times of India reported that rescuers on Saturday recovered another body from the wreckage of the Air India's AI-171, which crashed into the BJ Medical College campus in Ahmedabad on Thursday, taking the death toll to over 274 in what the media described as India's worst ever single aircraft disaster, following the airline earlier confirmation of 241 fatalities among the 242 people on board, with one survivor, with the media adding that authorities have also confirmed 33 deaths on the ground. That not all. An Air India passenger, Akash Vatsa, took to X social media platform with videos showing that he boarded the Air India flight that crashed, killing 274 people on board 2 hours before the crash from New Delhi to Ahmedabad, that he observed a lot of technical faults in the airplane and wondered why Air India management still allowed such an aircraft to fly without proper maintenance. CNBC News reported that multiple Air India flights have experienced returns, technical snags, and crew duty delays since the deadly Air India plane crash on June 12, 2025. A London-bound Air India flight, scheduled for takeoff from Ahmedabad, was cancelled on Tuesday due to technical issues. The flight, I-159, arrived from New Delhi to Ahmedabad. It was also the first flight scheduled to depart for London after last week's crash in Ahmedabad. On June 16th, shortly after taking off from Hong Kong around 12:30 p.m. local time, Boeing 7878 flight AI-315 reached approximately 22,000 feet before descending and returning to Hong Kong International Airport. According to an NDTV report, the pilot said there was ongoing military campaigns between Israel and Iran on Monday did not spare journalists as the Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting IRIB building in Tehran was hit by Israeli missile, with the Israel Defense Forces IDF saying that the media was one of the Israeli military targets to block the military communications of Iran armed forces, which the Iran armed forces immediately retaliated with ballistic missiles fired into Israel, and IDF in a statement issued late hours on Monday confirmed that millions of Israeli residents are currently running into bomb shelters with air raid sirens sounding across several places in Israel. A video currently trending on social media showed the TV host, Sahar Amami, fleeing the studio when the station was hit by a missile during a live broadcast, although there are reports from Iran that the state media resumed normal operations minutes after the attack. But there are unconfirmed reports that some journalists were killed in the attack as part of the building was completely on fire. This international news agency, Reuters, put the total deaths recorded so far since the war began on Friday at 248, quoting Iranian source of Iran suffering 224 deaths, and Israeli source saying Israel has recorded 24 deaths. Local media reported that the Israeli airstrikes hit the headquarters of the Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting, IRIB, in Tehran, Iran's main state-run media network, at about 6:34 p.m. on Monday. The reports indicated that the strike disrupted television and radio signals reaching tens of millions of Iranians across the country and beyond. Initial reports say casualties have occurred, though exact figures are still unconfirmed, according to local media. The IDF said the attack was part of its broader campaign targeting military infrastructure inside Iran. Israel Defense Forces, IDF, in a number of tweets stated that, once again, millions of Israelis are forced to run to shelter following projectile fire from Iran. Recap of our recent operations over Tehran. Strike on 2 F-14 fighter jets that were located at an airport in Tehran. These jets were intended to intercept Israeli aircraft, thwarted a UAV launch attempt toward Israel, eliminated a launch cell minutes before launch toward Israel after intelligence tracked and identified its launch team deploying UAV launchers and weapons. Today, the Israeli Air Force conducted a precise strike based on intelligence targeting a communication center that was being used for military purposes by the Iranian armed forces. The building was used by the Iranian armed forces under the guise of civilian activity, covering up the military use of the center's infrastructure and assets. Prior to the strike, the IDF provided an effective advanced warning to the civilian population, including phone calls, to mitigate harm to civilians as far as feasible, IDF stated. Reuters reported that footage showed a newsreader hurrying from her seat as a blast struck. The conflict entered its fifth day on Tuesday, with air raid sirens sounding in Tel Aviv shortly after midnight as Iran launched additional missiles toward Israel. Iran's foreign minister
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.